Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. I've been going through a series of video presentations for the Rankin Technical College Application and Web Development AWD1111 .NET Framework with Web Databases class. The major textbook for the class will be ASP.NET MVC with Entity Framework and CSS by Lee Naylor. And I have chosen first to go over much of the textbook for Professional ASP.NET MVC5 by John Galloway of Microsoft and others. So far I have done the first 7 chapters. I'm not going to read those, but there they are. And now we're going to go into Chapter 8. After Chapter 8 we will go through Chapter 9. So Ajax now, then routing. We're going to skip 10, 11, 12, and 13 and finish up with chapters 14, 15, and 16. Alright? Chapter 8, as you can see on the screen here, is on Ajax. Ajax is an acronym that stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML, even though over the years the X in XML many times has been replaced with JSON. And we'll talk, that's JavaScript object notation. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The other thing too, just so you're aware of this, if I come out here and I type in Ajax Jesse James Garrett, this is the article, and it's literally 13 years old now. Ajax, a new approach to web applications by Adaptive Path. And you can print this out. It's, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 pages. But it talks about the beginning of Ajax. And let me just say, because this is my little spin on it, okay? Couple things. There's had been a problem over the years when you had to redraw part of a web page. That problem was it technically wasn't possible to just redraw a portion of the page. You had to redraw the whole page. So as the page basically redrew itself, you got a little bit of a flash when it went from the old page to the new page, called a flicker. And what was discovered over time was there was this Microsoft thing that they had created a long time ago called the Xml Http Request that could be used to allow for just a partial page refresh. So in other words, you could just redraw the part of the screen that needed to be redrawn without any kind of page flicker. Alright? So this idea of a partial page refresh, in my humble opinion, is pretty much what this is all about. So we will talk about understanding jQuery. Much of this chapter is on the topic of jQuery itself. Alright? Now we talked about HTML helpers in the, I don't know, I guess it was chapter 5. And not only are there HTML helpers, there are Ajax helpers. So we'll talk about those. We'll talk about the action of understanding client validation. Then we'll get into Jquery Plugins and talk a little bit about how you can come in and improve Ajax performance. Now it says that here we can go in and grab this from the download tab, and this may be the first time that I actually think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go out there. I have encountered the following error. Well, I can go out to rocks.com. In fact, I've already done this, but there's the book, download code, and we want the Chapter 8 code. Click to download. Says it's there. Show in folder. There it is right there. Let's quickly extract it, which will extract it right here. Alright, we've got a bunch of other files and projects and stuff. It looks like to extract, but let's grab this and let's cut it, go to our desktop, and just go paste it. So there it is in our desktop. While we're doing this, let's extract all of these. Don't know if I actually have to do this, but at least it's all out of the way now. All right. Okay. So let's make a folder here, and we'll call this. Oops. Don't know what happened there. Let's call it zipped, and we'll grab all of our zip stuff. These 5. Which is weird, but that's fine. And we'll move that there. Okay, so now we've got this stuff. Why? Again, because in the book, the authors have said that the code that we'll need is in here. All right? Okay. Building a new web application today and not including AJAX features is rare. Technically, as it says, AJAX stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML, but in practice, it's any technique that you can use to help build responsive websites with a great user experience. Being responsive requires some asynchronous communication now and then, but the appearance of responsiveness can also come from subtle animations and color changes. If you can visually encourage your users to make the right choices inside your application, they'll love you and come back for more. And that sounds really simple, and you could say, yeah, well, it's because it is. Well, let's just say, though, for a second, that it doesn't matter what you're trying to sell. Let's assume that I was trying to sell, and I use this example in my classroom a lot. Let's assume that I was trying to sell sporting goods. And I've decided that I want the same market that Dick's Sporting Goods has. But instead of Dick's, of course, mine will be Jeff's. All right? But what I decide is that unlike Dick's, who I think, I don't think this, I don't know, but let's suppose that I believe that Dick's doesn't have a great user experience. The colors are bad or whatever. It's just hard to maneuver through the website. Okay? So I'm going to use AJAX, responsive web design, and other things to make people want to use my site and come back to my site. All right? ASP.NET MVC5 is a modern web framework. Like every modern web framework, it has AJAX support out of the box, so to speak. The core comes from the open source Jquery JavaScript library. Most AJAX features build on or extend features in Jquery. So to understand what you can do with AJAX in ASP.NET MVC5, we'll start with Jquery. Now, as you may or may not guess, if I go out to jquery.com, this is the main site for Jquery. One of the things that I've always thought about this site, when you look at it, not much to look at. It really isn't. But unbelievably functional. You can go right here and you can download the newest version of Jquery. And when you download it, you can download either the compressed version, which means that all unnecessary comments and white space have been removed, or the uncompressed version that you can read. All right? Notice you can also use the slim build, which excludes AJAX. Well, this is a chapter on AJAX, so we wouldn't want to do that. Now, if you decide that for whatever reason you don't want to download Jquery, but you want to be able to use Jquery, you can use what's called a CDN, or Content Delivery Network. All right, what that does, we'll grab the Google one here, for example. All right, and it adds this line right here, which for lack of better words says, hey, if you want to go and use the latest and greatest version of jQuery, all right, rather than you downloading the jQuery file to your system, we're going to have, when jQuery is needed, we're going to have you go out to the internet and go out to https://ajax.googleapis.com/ajax/libs/jQuery/3.3.1, and there you'll find the jQuery.min.js file, and include that in our files. The advantage of using a CDN like this is you don't have to download jQuery itself. And chances are, if the user has been out to a site, they may already have that file cached or saved on their own system. That's the advantage. So, it'll load faster. The disadvantage is you're going out to a website. So you have to have internet capability in order to use this. All right. Other things to note real quick. Again, the latest version of this is 3.3.1. jQuery is meant to give a lightweight footprint, so it's not a big pig as far as the amount of space it takes on your system. It's CSS3 compliant, so the newer CSS3, Cascading Style Sheet 3 things that are there are available. It's cross-browser, so it should look and work the same regardless of whether you're using Chrome, Edge, Firefox, IE, Safari, etc. jQuery is defined right here, very simply, as a fast, small, and feature-rich JavaScript library. It makes things like HTML document traversal and manipulation, event handling, animation, and AJAX, which is what we want, much simpler with an easy-to-use API, application program interface, that works across a multitude of browsers. With a combination of versatility and extensibility, jQuery has changed the way that millions of people write JavaScript. And we're going to look at that in a minute. The stuff that's in here, probably the two things that you'd be most interested in here are the first two. This is all the documentation. So if you click there, notice if I start going through here, what you're seeing on the right-hand side there, those are all of the available methods that you can call in jQuery. So let's say I wanted to animate something. There's an animate method. So I can go and highlight that, click, it'll show me how it's used, the properties, and sooner or later, it'll even give me an example. All right. The other thing that's in here that's worth noting is the jQuery Learning Center. And you'll notice there's virtually a book in here about what you can do. All right. There's a lot more to learn about building websites and applications with jQuery that you can fit into API documentation. If you're looking for explanations of the basics, you've come to the right place. A couple of other things that we are going to look at while we're in here. I'm going to go to jQueryUI.com. This is the jQuery user interface, and there's about 30 things over here that you can use and learn and work with, etc. For instance, if I click on accordion, it shows you how to make a jQuery accordion. It gives you the actual source code that you need in order to be able to do this. The other thing that they'll hit on later on in the chapter are jQuery plugins. If I go out to the jQuery plugin registry, which is https://plugins.jquery.com, you'll notice I'm not going to add these, but my guess is there's somewhere around 3,000 or 4,000 jQuery scripts that other people have written that are available for your use. You can write your own scripts. Heck, you can even write your own scripts and ask that those be added to jQuery. All right. Now I'm already at 15 minutes and I've given you a big, long, hairy butt explanation as we've started. But rather than go into jQuery right now, I think I'll stop right here and pick this up. So that was 15 minutes and we're only literally a page in. We're on the second page of this. So I'll come back with that in just a couple.